Welcome to another rendition of Full Count Detroit. We have everything covered from Lakeland up to Comerica. Today we'll be talking about All-Star Game voting, Wednesday's MVP, Wednesday's game recap, and we'll also be recapping who is Dietrich Enns and also John Brebbia signing with Atlanta on a minor league contract, and the Tigers able to get Usu Go, who was a minor league pitcher with the Marlins. But first off, let's get into Wednesday's recap. It was not a great game. Flaherty did have a bounce back game, but he needs to get out in front of counts. That was the biggest struggle. He was walking too many guys too. A couple walks there for Flaherty just was not a very great outing for Flaherty. An efficient first inning, only 6 pitches, and then a shaky second, but he really got the weak contact. The third inning though was a struggle. He walked Butler, struck out Jacob Wilson, who only has a strikeout rate of 6.3 on the season. Almost to strike him out, throw him out. Lawrence Butler, an amazing slide there. Really, he practically might have won this game for the Athletics. A great slide there, gets his 12th stolen base of the season. And then Flaherty walks Rooker and leaves an 88-mile-per-hour changeup on the third pitch of the at-bat. And Kurtz makes the longest home run hit at Comerica this season at 438. It got out at 108 miles per hour. A huge home run for Kurtz. And Detroit, the first runner in scoring position didn't come into the sixth inning with 2 outs. Jahmai Jones was able to get a double to right field. When Seal in the seventh was the second guy really to get to Lopez. But there was really just after that triple, there was nothing after that. Matt Gage struggles as well. He allowed two guys on. Dylan Smith came in and saved the day. Torres did find a sweeper, though, late in that game off Kelly, and that's when I really thought the Tigers might have something going forward. He stayed inside on it, drove it to left center, just didn't cook with anything right there. And then Jacob Lopez, that is our Wednesday MVP. His arm slot is so awkward, and it's so hard for these left-handed hitters to hit it. He comes out at 20 degrees arm slot. Most your average pitcher usually sits around 30, 40, somewhere around the 40 mark is usually where you're sitting. Like Scooble, I believe, throws at a 42-degree angle. Maybe a little bit lower. I might be wrong on that one. I think Flaherty might throw it at 42 and Scooble might throw it at 37. But Jacob Lopez, it was amazing. It was, like I said, it's really awkward to get off that arm degree. He looked dominant over those first 3 innings. There was nobody touching him. 4 strikeouts in the first 3 innings. Jacob Lopez finished the day with 6 strikeouts, 103 pitches, 0 earned runs, 3 hits, and 7 innings pitched. Wow, he was amazing. There's a stat on your screen right now that I want you to look at the bottom right corner. In his last couple outings, 1 earned run. In his last, I believe it's 23 innings, 29 strikeouts as well. His season stats go to 3.56. ERA, and his whip in his last 23 innings pitched, 0.91, ERA of 0.39. An amazing outing from Jacob Lopez. Really was a star-studded show for him. And I think if you are a baseball fan going forward, I want you to watch the next, or at least look at the box score of Jacob Lopez, next couple starts, I should say, because he's pitching amazing right now, and he's really been dominant ever since he get back into that starter role. And it's definitely going to be hard for a lot of teams to hit Jacob Lopez, but it's really going to be interesting how it goes forward over those next 5 starts once teams start to get a little bit more film on him. But we'll switch it over to John Brebbia and Usu Go. They both ended up on different teams. Usu Go coming to the Tigers. John Brebbia signs a minor league contract with the Atlanta Braves. We'll go into Brebbia first. He returned to Atlanta on that minor league deal. Um, Signed to AAA the other day. This is his second stint. He ended last season in Atlanta with a 2.7 ERA. He only pitched in a couple innings, but his career ERA of 4.0 and 375 about innings of work. He was not great this season, a 7.71 ERA and an 18.2 innings pitched, 19 games. John Brebbia really struggled, had a decent start to that season, but really after that, he kind of fell off after he came back off the IR. Really just not a great guy. That it was a questionable signing. They signed him for $2 million. But obviously, short-lived career in Detroit, looking for success in Atlanta. We'll switch it over to Usu Go out of the KBO. Usugo signed with San Diego 2 years ago, right when they were playing that Seoul series. He came in. That was the season. So 2 years ago, he came in with San Diego. Was okay with the minor league teams in San Diego. Then was part of that Luis Urias trade. Usugo 4.11 ERA, 15 innings of work in 12 games in AAA last season. It's going to be interesting. He might end up cracking the major league roster just as a 27th man on a doubleheader one of these days, but I really don't see him making it up to the MLB this season. Potentially, though, if the Tigers have something happen, but I think the way the Tigers are headed with that trade deadline, I don't think it's going to be a lot of chances for some of these younger pitchers, like we're seeing Dietrich Enns today, and how he will come in and pitch. I don't see that happening for Usu. Go. We'll switch it over to All-Star game voting. This is going to be a long one. We have a lot of All-Stars to get into and a lot of potential Tigers All-Stars. We'll start it off at the catcher position in the American League. Cal Raleigh, an amazing season so far, 32 home runs. Following him is Alejandro Kirk, and then Dylan Dingler is about 150,000 votes behind Alejandro Kirk. This is as of Monday. All these vote numbers are as of Monday. Over to the National League, Will Smith of the Dodgers, 2 million votes. Carson Kelly, about 70 or 750,000 votes. JT Realmuto, just under 500,000 votes. Looks like Carson Kelly and Will Smith will both be representing that National League. It's Dylan Dingler could still be an All-Star in the American League. Cal Raleigh will probably start the All-Star game. Switch it over to first base. Vlad Guerrero and Paul Goldschmidt, 1 and 2 right there. Very close race, about 80,000 votes separating the two of them. Jonathan Aranda, who's having a really good season right now in Tampa Bay. We saw him last week. That batting average is really high. It's going to be tough that he probably won't get into the All-Star game just because Goldschmidt and Guerrero, their numbers are so high. Same thing, Torkelson will be sitting at that 4 spot. Don't have his vote numbers right now. Over on the National League, it's Freddie Freeman at 2 million votes, Pete Alonso at 1,500,000 votes, and then Michael Busch at 500,000 votes. It's going to be easily Pete Alonso and Freddie Freeman representing that National League as they both deserve. Switch it over to second baseman. It's Gleyber Torres representing the Tigers at 1,033 votes. 133,000 votes, I should say. Jackson Holliday and Jose Altuve only split by 11,000 votes. Could see Jackson Holliday get to his first All-Star game. Could see Jose Altuve get to his what feels like it'd be his 1 millionth All-Star game. Ketel Marte will most likely represent the National League as their starter. Tommy Edman sits in second place. Nico Horner there about 400,000 votes behind Tommy Edman. As you can see on your screen, it's those top 2 vote getters on these positions that are not the outfield. Remember, there's no voting on starting pitchers and stuff like that or relief pitchers, but the top 2 vote getters will get in to the All-Star game, and then they'll have phase 2, which will be who votes for the starters of the All-Star game. Switching over to third baseman, we have Jose Ramirez, Alex Bregman, who could be a Tiger, and then Zach McKinstry, who is a Tiger. But Jose Ramirez having an amazing season this year, and he will most likely be representing the American League at third base. Alex Bregman and Zach McKinstry not really neck and neck. It's about 150,000 votes that separate the two of them, but we could see a Tiger and Zach McKinstry get in there. We also could see a future Tiger, Alex Bregman, who we'll talk about potentially next week or the week after that when we talk about options that the Tigers should go get for batters. Keep it on the National League, though. Manny Ramirez, he's got 1,600,000 votes. Max Muncy, 900,000 votes just under there. And Eugenio Suarez, same boat as Alex Bregman, the Tigers could go out and get. He's got 538,000 votes. Switching over to shortstops, Jacob Wilson, who we've seen the last 2 days versus the Tigers, he's got 1,120,000 votes, I should say. Bobby Witt just back there, and Jeremy Pena about 200,000 behind Bobby Witt Jr. On the National League, it's going to be Francisco Lindor, Mookie Betts, and Ellie De La Cruz. Lindor and Betts both have a comfortable lead. They'll most likely be representing the National League at the shortstop position. At the designated hitter, we do have a Tiger sitting at fourth place right now. He's got 360,000 votes. He's about 30,000 behind Brent Rooker and 40,000 behind Ben Rice. Colt Keith could get into the All-Star game representing the Tigers, but nobody's going to catch Ryan O'Hearn. He's got almost 1 million votes, over 500,000 more than Ben Rice, who's representing the Yankees. And then on the National League, it's Shohei Ohtani, who has 2,500,000 votes. Rafael Devers has 1,100,000. Seiya Suzuki has 600,000. If you notice on your screen right now, he is italicized and bolded. That's because Ohtani and then Aaron Judge, who we'll get into here in a second, both have the most votes in their respective leagues, which means they'll automatically be an All-Star game starter come the Midsummer Classic. In outfielders in the American League, it's Aaron Judge, who has 2 million, almost 700,000 votes. Riley Green sits in second place. Javi Baez in third place. Riley Green, who has 1,300,000. Javi Baez has 900,000. Mike Trout also there at 900,000, just behind Javi Baez, about 2,000. Stephen Kwan sits behind Mike Trout about 800,000. Cody Bellinger about 100,000 behind Stephen Kwan. Kerry Carpenter could get into the All-Star game, even though he's been struggling over those last couple of games. Really hasn't been playing. We didn't see him at all yesterday facing the lefty, and then even when they brought the righty in for Michael Kay, nothing really there. George Springer sits in eighth place, Julio Rodriguez in tenth place or in ninth place, and Byron Buxton in 10th place. Really a tight race there for that sixth spot, all behind Cody Bellinger, Kerry Carpenter, and George Springer likely have the highest odds to jump Cody Bellinger, but I really don't think Kerry Carpenter or George Springer get into that game. Neither with Julio Rodriguez or Byron Buxton, who Buxton's having a really good season for the Twins right now. We'll face them this weekend. We'll talk about Byron Buxton and how that Twins team has really attacked this season, how they've kind of fallen off tomorrow in that season or that series preview. On the National League, it's Pete Crow Armstrong, who's probably one of the greatest surprises in the MLB outside of the Detroit Tigers. He's got just over 2 million votes. Teoscar Hernandez in second place, Kyle Tucker in third, Ronald Acuna in fourth, Juan Soto of the Mets in fifth, Corbin Carroll at sixth. All those guys have over 1 million votes, and we looked at the American League. Only two of those guys had over 1 million votes between Riley Green and Aaron Judge. But an interesting thing here, Andy Pages could get to the All-Star game representing the Los Angeles Dodgers. He's about 50,000 votes behind Corbin Carroll, who's in sixth place right now. And the Dodgers are really going to dominate that National League All-Star game, along with the Tigers. We're looking at a Tigers team that has Riley Green, Javi Baez, Gleyber Torres, who all sit happy in their spots right now to be all-stars. Zach McKinstry obviously chasing, as well as Dylan Dingler. But on the pitching side of things, it's going to be Tariq Skubal, probably representing the American League all-star starting pitcher. Tommy Kahnle, I wouldn't be surprised if he gets in. And then obviously we're talking about 5 all-stars at that point, and we could be talking about 6 all-stars if you have a guy like Dylan Dingler or Zach McKinstry get in. But we'll go to this Thursday preview. Before that, who's on the mound for the Tigers today? Oh yeah, it's Dietrich Enns. Have any of you heard of him? The 34-year-old out of Central Michigan University, the alumni, hasn't pitched in the major league since 2021. He was amazing with the Rays, obviously just not good enough. He didn't have an amazing workload back there with the Rays. He had about 20 some innings pitched and had an ERA about 2.89 ERA. His stats should be on the screen right about now in 9 games. In 2017 with the Twins, 3 earned runs and 4 innings pitched. In the minor leagues this season, he has been amazing with the Mud Hens. Amazing with the Mud Hens. 2.89 ERA, 62 innings pitched, 14 games played, 14 games started, a strikeout to walk ratio of 4.73, 71 strikeouts to 15 walks in the KBO last year. Not an amazing stat line. He was 13 and 6, 4.19 ERA with the LG Twins. Going forward with this, it's going to be him versus Jeffrey Springs. Springs, obviously, if you remember him, pitched a little bit back with, I believe, the Tampa Bay Rays, if I'm not mistaken. These guys actually potentially could have been teammates now that I'm thinking about it. But he's a 4.24 ERA with a whip of 1.23 in 87 innings pitched this season. A strikeout to walk of 72 strikeouts to 32 walks, 13 home runs this season, and a 6-5 record. That is a lefty-lefty matchup. Springs a lefty as well as Ennis. They're both lefties. But I think who's going to get to Jeffrey Springs first? I think it's going to be Gleyber Torres. Torres 2 for 11 in his career versus Jeffrey Springs. 3 strikeouts, 1 home run. He's the only guy in the Tigers lineup to have a home run that has faced, yet there's only 5 guys that have faced Jeffrey Springs. That's Torres, Green, Torkelson, Baez, and Jake Rogers. This is going to be an interesting matchup. You know, Jacob Wilson didn't have a great game yesterday. See how he attacks versus Ennis. It's always interesting when a team brings up a guy who's technically a veteran, but really doesn't have that much experience in the MLB, a guy like Ennis. And it's going to be interesting to see how the Athletics end up attacking Ennis. But that's going to do it for today's episode of Full Count Detroit. A little bit of a shorter episode today, not a whole lot to unpack. Tomorrow we'll go a little bit more in depth to Dylan Dingler's arm behind the plate. That's going to be an interesting topic to start. And then we'll talk about a midseason special and how the Tigers have attacked that first half of the season. Technically, we're halfway through the season today, but we'll talk a little bit more and go more in depth in it tomorrow. But that's going to do it. Thank you for listening to Full Count Detroit, your one-stop shop for everything Tigers. Have an amazing Thursday, and as always, go Tigers.